People like you would be dead today. Your mothers, your forefathers would be gassed.
Oh my God.
Galliano apologized for the taped outburst. In a statement released through his lawyers, he said, "I only have myself to blame, and I know that I must face up to my own failures. In all my work, my inspiration has been to unite people of every race, creed, religion, and sexuality by celebrating their cultural and ethnic diversity through fashion. That remains my guiding light." However, he went on to say that he was subjected to verbal harassment and assault during last week's incident, and he's planning a defamation suit against the couple accusing him of anti-Semitism.
These accusations, there are a lot of them. Mr. Galliano is a designer, an artist who is known around the world, so it's extremely easy to tarnish someone's reputation.
Galliano's departure from Dior marks the end of one of the longest and most successful partnerships in the world of fashion. However, industry watchers say that the famed fashion house will move forward. Just hours after announcing Galliano's dismissal, several high-profile designers were said to be in the running to replace him.
As far as I can see, they intend to pick up the reins and carry on. It's business as usual and the show must go on.
But the future of Galliano's own line is now at stake. He was set to reveal his latest collection at Paris Fashion Week on Sunday. But given the firestorms surrounding the designer and rumors that he's now in a rehabilitation program, it remains unclear when his creations will hit the runway again. Catherine Stansel, Al Jazeera.
More than 25,000 Turkish Cypriots have marched against austerity measures supported by Ankara. The protest is one of the biggest demonstrations ever held in northern Cyprus and could hinder reunification talks with Greek Cypriots. In 1960, Britain granted Cyprus independence. 3 years later, the power-sharing deal established between Greek and Turkish Cypriots crumbled, and a government of Greek Cypriots was formed and recognised as the only legitimate authority. But in 1974, after a military-backed coup, Turkey invaded Cyprus, dividing the country, and the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus was created, that only Turkey recognises. Since then, the issue of reunification has remained unsolved. Vivani reports.
Tens of thousands of Turkish Cypriots gather in Nicosia's Inonu Square in Cyprus's Turkish north, protesting against austerity measures they say have been forced on them by Ankara.
We have this problem with Ankara. They don't accept Turkish Cypriots' demand of equality, and they act as if the mother of Turkish Cypriots, as a dominating power. So we want to let Ankara know that Turkish Cypriots are not children anymore.
We need a solution as soon as possible here in Cyprus. If we don't have a solution here, that means Turkish Cypriots will be dissolved. Slowly, will be finished here.
They're angry at austerity measures that could see public spending slashed, state enterprises sold off, and the rights of trade unions curbed.
There's also a tremendous fear that they're going to be squeezed in between the economic power of Greek Cypriots and the economic power of Turkey.
Turkey has bankrolled northern Cyprus since 1974, this year contributing $860 million, about a quarter of the North's budget. The Turkish Cypriot finance minister refuses to blame Ankara, saying cuts should have been implemented years ago.
Since our government's level of taxation income is limited, and since we cannot borrow further because we have reached the top there, obviously then you have to take some measures, and those measures are austerity measures. I don't think it's fair to say that Turkey has pressed on these measures.
There's concern the demonstrations could threaten the UN-sponsored reunification talks between Greek and Turkish Cypriots, the next round of which is scheduled for Friday. Oliver Varney, Al Jazeera.
Don't forget, you can always watch Al Jazeera online to keep up to date around the world. Go to our website, aljazeera.net/English, and click on the video icon. And we're available through livestation.com. Stay with us on Al Jazeera. It's 22:30 GMT. I'm Stephen Cole. You're watching Al Jazeera from London. This is a reminder of our top stories. Fighting is continuing in eastern Libya. Rebel forces are holding the oil export terminal in Brega. But forces loyal to Muammar Gaddafi have been carrying out aerial bombing raids in the area. Our correspondent Tony Bertley is in the region.
The Air Force jet circled again, and this time it bombed the group of fighters we were with. They're strung out in a long stretch of the main highway here, and a huge explosion happened about 60 meters away from us, and it sent everyone scurrying. Second attack by the jet. It's going to show that there's heavy fighting going on in the town of Brega. We can't exactly see what's going on. We've been told that something like 250 to 300 pro-Gaddafi fighters are inside the town, and they are surrounded, we are told.
And the Libyan leader has given his third address to the people since the unrest began. Muammar Gaddafi warned that thousands would die if the West intervened to support the uprising against him. Gaddafi pledged to crush any revolt to his rule and blamed al-Qaeda cells for the escalating unrest. The Arab League says it could impose a no-fly zone on Libya in coordination with the African Union if fighting went on. But the United States says all options are on the table, and it's a long time before a decision would be made about any such zone. The United Nations say the refugee crisis has now passed 180,000 people. More than 70,000 crossed the border to Egypt and Tunisia. The British Prime Minister outlined plans to help avert a humanitarian crisis.
Today we're launching a UK operation to airlift several thousand people back to Egypt from the Libyan-Tunisian border, with the first flight scheduled to leave the UK later today. I think it's vital to do this. These people shouldn't be kept in transit camps if it's possible to take them back to their home.
2 US military personnel have been killed when a gunman attacked the bus they were on in Frankfurt. It happened as the coach arrived at the airport. Authorities say the gunman was a 21-year-old Kosovan who was living there. And French prosecutors say the British fashion designer John Galliano is to stand trial for alleged racial insults. The offence, making racist insults in public, carries 6-month prison sentence and a $31,000 fine. From me, Stephen Cole, goodbye.
Hello everyone, this is People and Power and I'm Summer El-Shahat. On today's program, Building Egypt's Future.
محتاجين نكمل الضغط لأن النظام في مصر لسه لم يسقط، يعني النظام في مصر لسه موجود. رجال أعمال لسه موجودين وليهم أذرع في الأحياء وفي المناطق.
A fortnight ago, we showed you a film that we shot exclusively and behind the scenes with young activists from Egypt's April 6th movement. They were among the key players in the uprising that brought down Hosni Mubarak. So how have they fared in the weeks since? Though the news of the president's resignation was greeted with wild jubilation by the mass crowds in Tahrir Square, the revolution itself is far from over. A military council now runs the country, and many of the political and economic conditions that led to the revolt are still in place. The challenge facing the activists and the pro-democracy movement in general is how to build on their gains and secure